This penny looks simple, almost boring at first glance. Yet the 1979 D. Lincoln cent holds a quiet story that many collectors still chase today. It's the kind of coin that hides its importance behind an everyday appearance, making it easy to overlook and easy to spend. The letter D beneath the date tells us this coin was struck at the Denver Mint during a time when the United States was producing massive amounts of small change. Cash was used everywhere, and pennies moved fast through the economy. Most of them never had a chance to stay perfect. The 1979 D penny is part of the modern copper era, made of 95% copper and 5% zinc. That alone makes it more appealing than later zinc cents. When you hold one, it feels solid, heavier than newer pennies, and that weight connects it to a time when coins were built to last. On the front, Abraham Lincoln's portrait shows fine detail when the coin is well struck. Look at the hair above the ear, the sharp line of the jaw, and the coat. On circulated coins, these details wear down quickly. The more detail you see, the closer the coin is to higher collector value. Turn the coin over and you'll see the Lincoln Memorial, a design that defined nearly half a century of U.S. coinage. On strong examples, the columns are sharp, and you can even see Lincoln's statue inside the building. That tiny detail matters more than most people realize. Now let's talk about worth, and this is where things get interesting. Most 1979 D pennies found in everyday circulation are worth only a few cents above face value. That's the truth collectors respect, but the story changes fast when condition improves. Uncirculated 1979 D pennies with original red copper color can sell for several dollars. Coins graded in high mint state condition can go much higher, especially if the luster is strong and the strike is clean. And then there are errors, the real treasure hunt. Some 1979 D pennies were struck with die cracks, die chips, off-center strikes, and weak strikes. These errors happen during production and cannot be duplicated. Even a small visible error can raise value significantly. Collectors also search closely for doubling. Check the date, the word liberty, and in God we trust. True doubling appears thick and layered, not flat or scratched. A genuine doubled die example can be worth many times more than a normal coin. Another factor that boosts value is original color. Pennies that still show full red copper surfaces are much harder to find today. Most have toned brown after decades in circulation. Bright red examples are aggressively collected. One mistake many people make is cleaning the coin. Cleaning removes original surfaces and instantly destroys collector value. Even if a coin looks shiny after cleaning, collectors can spot the damage immediately. If you think you've found a strong example, handle it carefully. Hold it by the edges, keep it dry, and store it in a proper holder. Copper coins react quickly to moisture and air. So what makes the 1979 D Lincoln penny special? It sits at the crossroads of old and modern coinage. It's copper, not zinc. It's old enough to have history, yet modern enough to still appear in collections and jars today. And because most people never save them, truly high-quality examples are becoming harder to find every year. Collectors don't chase this coin because it's flashy. They chase it because condition, errors, and originality can turn an ordinary penny into something surprisingly valuable. Before you spend a 1979 D penny, take a closer look. What seems small and ordinary might be a quiet piece of American coin history, waiting for the right eyes to notice it. And in coin collecting, that's often where real value hides. This penny has traveled farther than most people ever will. It was born in 1979 inside the Denver Mint, at a time when America was changing fast. Gas prices were rising, disco was fatting, and pocket change still mattered. This small copper coin entered the world quietly, dropped into bags with millions of others, never knowing that decades later someone would stop, stare, and wonder if it was worth more than 1 cent. For years, it passed from hand to hand. It bought candy, paid parking meters, rattled in jars, and sat forgotten in drawers. Nobody saved it. Nobody protected it. Why would they? It was just a penny. But time has a strange way of changing ordinary things. Unlike modern pennies, this one was made mostly of copper. You can feel it. It's heavier, warmer, more solid. That copper has seen decades of life, absorbing fingerprints, air, and history. Some survived beautifully. Most did not. Look closely at Lincoln's face. Every tiny detail tells a story. The sharpness of his jaw, the texture of his hair. On some coins, those details are still alive, untouched, frozen in time. On others, they've been worn smooth by years of use. That difference is the line between ordinary and collectible. Flip the coin over. The Lincoln Memorial stands there quietly, just like it has since 1959. On the best examples, you can still see the tiny statue of Lincoln sitting inside the memorial. Most people don't even know it's there. Most never look closely enough. And that's where this penny hides its secret. Some 1979 D pennies were struck imperfectly. A tiny crack in the die, a slight doubling in the letters, a misalignment so small it escaped notice for years. These mistakes weren't planned. They happened in a rush during massive production, when speed mattered more than perfection. Those mistakes turned a forgettable coin into a survivor. Collectors don't hunt this penny because it's flashy. They hunt it because it's honest, because it survived decades without being destroyed, because it tells the truth about how coins were made, used, and forgotten. And then one day, someone finds it. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's sitting in a jar right now. You pick it up, turn it under the light, and suddenly it doesn't feel ordinary anymore. You notice the shine, the sharpness, something looks different. That's the moment every collector remembers. Because value doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers. A well-preserved 1979 D Lincoln penny can be worth far more than 1 cent. Add a mint error, strong detail, or original red copper color, and the value rises again. The same coin people once ignored becomes something people now search for. And the saddest part, millions were spent without ever being checked. That's why this penny matters. It reminds us that history doesn't always live in museums. Sometimes it lives in your pocket. Sometimes it hides in plain sight, waiting for someone curious enough to look twice. Before you spend your next penny, slow down. Because one small copper coin from 1979 might still have a story left to tell. And it might be worth more than anyone ever expected.
Iconic modern coins, the 500 lyre. This coin is loved by collectors around the world, not only for its beauty but also for its history, silver content, and surprising worth. The Italian 500 lyre coin first appeared in the late 1950s, during a period when Italy was rebuilding and redefining itself after World War II. Unlike many ordinary circulation coins of the time, the 500 lyre immediately stood out because of its large size, elegant design, and high-quality minting. For many Italians, this coin symbolized progress, stability, and national pride. On the front of the coin, the design often features allegorical female figures representing Italy. These figures symbolize unity, strength, and hope for the future. The details are fine and artistic, showing the high level of craftsmanship of the Italian mint. When the coin is well preserved, the facial features, hair, and expressions appear sharp and lifelike, making it a favorite among art lovers as well as coin collectors. The reverse side of the 500 lyre is equally impressive. One of the most famous designs shows the two caravels, powerful sailing ships with billowing sails. This design represents exploration, maritime strength, and Italy's connection to history and discovery. The denomination 500 lire is clearly displayed along with the year of minting. In high-quality examples, the lines of the sails and ships remain crisp and detailed. One of the biggest reasons collectors value the Italian 500 lyre is its metal composition. Many earlier issues were struck in silver, giving the coin intrinsic value beyond its face denomination. The silver content alone makes these coins attractive, especially when silver prices rise. Later versions were made in different metals, but the silver editions remain the most desirable. Condition plays a major role in determining value. Coins that circulated heavily often show wear on the highest points of the design, such as faces, sails, and lettering. These worn examples still hold value, especially if they contain silver, but they are more common. Uncirculated or lightly handled coins, on the other hand, are much harder to find and can be worth significantly more. Collectors also pay attention to specific years and mintages. Some 500 lyre coins were produced in lower numbers, making them scarcer in the market. Others are sought after because of exceptional design quality or historical significance. Proof versions, struck with special care and mirror-like surfaces, are particularly valuable and highly collectible. Errors and variations can also increase a 500 lyre coin's worth. Misaligned strikes, die cracks, or unusual surface features can attract specialist collectors. While major errors are not extremely common, any verified minting mistake can raise interest and price. The Italian 500 lyre is more than just a coin. It represents a chapter of European history and a time when craftsmanship and artistry were central to currency design. Even today, long after Italy switched to the euro, the 500 lyre remains one of the most recognizable and respected Italian coins. In today's collector market, the value of a 500 lyre coin depends on several factors, including the year, metal type, condition, and demand. Silver issues generally hold strong value, while rare dates and proof coins can command premium prices. Even common examples are often worth more than people expect, especially when well preserved. If you have old Italian coins stored away, the 500 lyre is definitely worth checking. Look at the date, examine the details,